Hello, my friend, and welcome to the beautiful Pacific coast of Costa Rica. In fact, before I go into what I want to share with you today, let me share the view with you, because I would be negligent in my message if I didn't share that with you. So I hope you can see the Pacific coast there, absolutely beautiful. We've got a bit of cloud happening at the moment, which has given me the opportunity to record this video without me straining in sunlight. And it's fortuitous, actually, because I was prompted to do this message by a meeting I've just had a few feet away with a new business associate that I hope will be a mutually beneficial and mutually prosperous relationship. And that prompted me to talk about relationships, and one particular relationship with money. Your relationship with money specifically. Let me share a story with you. It's a very brief one. About 12 years ago, at the time of recording, I was in a room with a person who became a great mentor to me. And he stood up at the front of the room and he held a $100 bill up. This is a 20. I'm a cheapskate. He held up a $100 bill, and he said, "This stuff doesn't talk, but it hears." Now I have to tell you, back then, that was one of the most bizarre things I'd ever heard. I wasn't quite sure where he was going with it. However, over the years I have found that statement has stayed with me because it's so rich in truth. Now you see, what I'm about to share with you, to the uninitiated, to the average ear, those who are not educated in these matters, those who dismiss these matters as woo and that kind of thing, they're just demonstrating their ignorance. That's where I was 12 years ago. I didn't understand this stuff. But you see, everything is energy. This is an idea manifest on paper. Paper is energy in a certain vibration. The idea itself of money is energy. Everything that we can see and everything that we can't see is energy. In fact, there are 2 points of reference that you can go to in the world that help you understand what we're part of here in this experience called life. You can go to the theologian, and the theologian will tell you that everything is God, that God is the cause and effect of himself, that cannot be created or destroyed, and is omnipresent in all places at all times. Go to the scientist, and the scientist will tell you that everything is energy, that energy is the cause and effect of itself, that it cannot be created or destroyed, and is omnipresent in all places at all times. They're not speaking about separate things. They're not opposing views. They're talking about exactly the same thing. Now, you can take that particular scenario and expand it out across the globe and recognize the fundamental cause of our problems on this planet and the reason that this planet is in the state it's in. Because unfortunately, human beings are far more attached to the label that they associate to the intelligence of life rather than how it expresses itself uniformly and unwaveringly through specific natural laws. Now, I don't care what your term of reference is for the intelligence behind life. That's your business, it's not mine. Whether it's universal intelligence, whether it's God, whether it's Allah, whether it's, whatever it might be, whether it's energy. Let's just recognize that we're talking about the same thing. Now let's come back to this particular energy that some people, and there's a lot of them, refer to as filthy lucre, amongst other derogatory terms. Now let me ask you a question. If you became aware of somebody in your community, maybe it's where you live, in your town, your village, your community, that you spoke to as an acquaintance or a friend, and you became aware that when their front door was closed, they spoke about you and your family in a very derogatory manner. Let me ask you something. Would you go and spend time with that person? Would you go and spend time with that family who spoke about you in a derogatory way? Of course you wouldn't. Why would you? Why would you want to give your most precious asset in life, time, to somebody who speaks about you in a derogatory way? Well, that principle that applies to that relationship applies exactly the same to the relationship that you have with this stuff. You see, a lot of people aren't consciously aware that what they speak about money, in terms of how they reference it, or how they speak about the people who have plenty of it, is a reflection of what's going on within them. Unconscious ideas that are fed from an unconscious belief system that they inherited. Now, I don't think I need to explain to you that all of us arrived on this planet as a blank canvas. None of us arrived with the beliefs that we now hold to be true. But we inherit enormous amounts of ideas from our environment, and many of those ideas are not healthy and do not serve us, yet we carry them in our lives without ever questioning them, because in order to question something and evaluate its value to you, you have to become consciously aware of it. So let me ask you, what do you think of this stuff and your worthiness of it? What do you really think about it? Well, here's one way to assess where your current thinking on it is. How much of it do you have in your life? If you've not got enough of it, or you want more of it, then you're going to have to modify your thinking around it. And if you're going to modify your thinking around it, you're going to have to modify the belief system that's sponsoring how you think and act towards this energy. You see, you act and attract in accordance with this energy and other energy. Your unconscious beliefs will determine both how you act in terms of how much of this you earn, how much contribution you make to the world, and also how you attract it into your life. Now, I can promise you this, my friend, you are worthy of more than this than you can possibly imagine. This idea that your creator, whatever terminology you choose to use for the creative intelligence behind life, does not want you to have an abundance of this stuff is a complete nonsense perpetuated by people who needed to have control or chose to have control over the masses. The more you have of this stuff, the more you are able to bring your creative natural gifts to the world to make the biggest contribution that you can, in line with whatever it is in your heart that you feel compelled to make a difference in life. Now, I don't know what that is for you, but I do know this. No one's filling space on this planet. Everyone has a purpose. What's yours? What's the big idea that never goes away from you, the dream that keeps reoccurring? And what's the thought process that immediately follows it that dismisses your worthiness of it? Or what is it that's stopping you getting there? I can promise you, you've got ideas about this stuff that isn't healthy. And the reason I can promise you that is that when I didn't have enough of this stuff, and I was doing okay, at the time I had that meeting, I was just out of a 19-year career in corporate life, but it was, I had a huge lid on my income because that lid wasn't determined by the marketplace, by the job I was in, by the opportunities brought me, or by the economy. That lid was set by my unconscious belief systems and my consciously chosen limitations around my worthiness of this money. Now, when those things changed, when I finally became aware that I was holding ideas that didn't serve me and I was willing to unlearn, most people aren't willing to do that, when I was willing to trade my most cherished beliefs for a more profitable and therefore more purposeful future, everything started to change for me. Now, I'm still on that journey, for sure. I'll never be the finished article. When the breath leaves this particular body, then I'll know that I'm done. But I have to tell you, a lot's changed for me since I was willing to evaluate the ideas, evaluate the beliefs that sponsored those ideas, and then modify those beliefs to act and attract in accordance with more of this coming into my life. I would encourage you from this message to think deeply about thinking about what you think about around money, watching what you say about it, and reprogramming, remodifying your beliefs around how worthy you are of abundance. I hope this message has served you in the way it's intended. Enjoy the process of becoming more. And thanks for tuning into the channel. Bye for now.